a different look at cacophony feels an sports space. Ashes of participation springs the shrill anger and the past 1 week have vented their anger and frustration at those caused the failure turned from Paris with their baying for the blood sports officials, especially that of the sports minister. Because the buck calamitous failure athletes stops at his desk. They ask, how can a country of over 200 million and that has expended 12 billion naira fail to medal? Pierre de Coubertin, founder of the modern Olympics, will be quivering in his grave. Since when has winning medals become a matter size of a country or population or amount of money spent on the eve of the event or wishful thinking or unearned expectations? Fundamentally, every country goes to the Olympic, all the athletes that achieve qualifying standards through pre-Olympic competition and not on their likelihood to win medals. That's why Nigeria went with 82 qualified athletes. Of this number, how many realistically were expected to win any medal? In Paris, there were 10,500 athletes from 206 countries. How many can win the 329 medals at stake? Are the other over 10,000 athletes failures? To win any medal is not a stroll in the park. It is earned on the fields of competition. To even get to the Olympics is a painstaking journey. The 100 meters finals will last only about 10 seconds. What is required to get to that point is training hard for 6 to 9 hours every day for several years, surviving health and fitness and unforeseen challenges, competing against hundreds of the best athletes around the world for those many years, securing funds to train, hire personnel, and compete in high-level events, securing the services of experts to successfully navigate the athlete through the treacherous terrain leading to ultimate success, to be self-motivated and to be favored by the elements. Which of these did Nigeria prepare its sprinters for and earn the right of expectation to win medals? At the end of all the above, those that successfully navigate the minefield and win medals hardly ever do so by coming from the blue or by accident. They pass through the crucible of fire. Sentiments aside, in all facets of life, including sport, Nigeria should be one of the leading lights of Africa, providing leadership that will steer away from underdevelopment, bright light of success. The evidence of this possibility has always been there. The musical tune that has been played for decades in the corridors of international sports. It's only unfortunate that successive Nigerian governments have been deaf to the lyrics of the song. Meanwhile, we must not confuse the little incidents that happen during every Olympic Games, all the teams, as a measure of their success or failure. Administrative lapses will always occur. Without accepting or embracing them as normal, what we should never do is use them as the basis to throw away the baby with the bathwater or to smear the performances of the athletes with that tar. These issues must be separated, each bearing its own responsibility. We have history to take lessons from. In attending the 1980 Olympics, Nigeria went with the best set of sports administrators in the history of the country. A sports ministry with a National Sports Commission, complete with Isaac Akioye and that whole generation of stakeholders and seasoned administrators. But the world was embroiled in crisis that rendered the Moscow Olympics one of the worst in history. Nigeria did not even qualify in some sports, but were invited to take part at the very last minute. The country did not win medals, despite having a crack number of great athletes in several sports that were to blossom later. Yet, what dominated the media when the team returned to the country was a sex scandal that never happened, an imaginary relationship between an athlete and an official of the National Sports Commission, created by a journalist gathering information from the Olympic Village through his telephone, his hotel room in Moscow. That report fueled the anger of Nigeria and was attributed for the country's failure to win medals. The country went into a frenzy, calling for heads to roll. Heads eventually did roll. A judicial panel of inquiry was set up, headed by a respected legal luminary. Many innocent administrators were hurt and fired, and the whole sports architecture of Nigeria, well-founded and running well, were dismantled and destroyed. To date, Nigeria has not found its feet again in sports administration for proper sports development. Since then, Nigeria has been groping, unable to pick up the pieces of that moment of madness, 1980, seeking answers to the perennial failure since then of the entire sports sector. Forget 1996, the glorious year of Nigeria at the Olympics. The victory of that campaign was not deliberate or earned by dint of deliberate policies or programs. People forget easily that even the dream team that mesmerized the world and created Olympic history went to those games administrative shambles. The team was the assembly of some of the most gifted footballers in Nigeria's history. That's why they eventually won. Nigeria's first ever individual gold medalist came from the blue, a totally independent pursuit by a lady wronged and condemned by the system and the country. Chioma Ajunwa was not a product of Nigeria's successful sports program. Nigeria's sprinters of that generation, both male and female, had for years before then been demonstrating individual capability on the international circuit prior to the Olympics. Eri Onyali, Koya, Lokpade, Alozie, Ebunike, Ezinwa Brothers, Sunday Uti, and several others, all talented athletes that came through the web of Nigeria's limited development programs, hinged mostly training in America or through self-help or federal government scholarship. These were initiatives of the Isaac Akioye administration. Nothing was properly structured after 1980 to produce a steady stream of the best sprinters embedded in our genes. That's why 2012 in London was another perceived failure, because nothing had changed. That's why, as a bona fide member of Nigeria's pool of Olympians, over 700 or 800 strong throughout the country's history, I appreciate how only a handful have Olympic medals around their necks to show for their place in history. Yet, we all lay claim to being successful. We don't have medals. We must be humble and appreciate all Olympic athletes. Even on the Nigerian Olympians platform, I read strident condemnation of officials and athletes considered to be failures as a result of some administrative lapses. These are distractions from the main issue, clouds that hide the real culprit of Nigeria's failure, a country that does not take sports seriously and as seriously as it should, a country that is throwing money at the last minute without any solid developmental program, not making sports a priority area for government's attention, and just hoping that medals will be won. It is wishful. Let's step back from what happened at Paris 2024. Look again at where the country stands in the area of producing a rich and consistent line of world-class athletes. Encourage the great performances, even without medals, that some of the athletes put up in some of the sports. And these are recognized even now by the rest of the world, but not Nigeria. Do the things that we should have done, that we know, but lack the courage to confront. Stop the lamentation and move on to the next steps along the path to deserved success. The Nigerian government must wake up and take sports seriously. The country must demonstrate this by declaring a state of emergency in that sector. The President should sign the bill that brings back the National Sports Commission immediately. The board of the commission should be constituted, comprising tested, experienced, and qualified stakeholders, technocrats, and private sector players. Amongst other things, the National Sports Lottery initiative should be rejigged as a major means of raising funds for Nigeria's sports development, apart from other means. Constitution of sports federations be amended under the supervision of the Sports Development Ministry to reflect Nigeria's best interests and needs and with clear and achievable development agenda. Finally, Nigerians are angry. They have a right and justification to be angry, but they should not vent their anger against the wrong person and for the wrong reason.